welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making a lot of postcards and artworks right in my studio. So if you guys are already a part of my Instagram family, then you might know that I have been painting cottage core artworks for about 2 to 3 months continuously. So I basically have a lot of artworks to convert into postcards and wall art prints. So right now I'm actually starting with the postcards. I want to make A6 vintage postcards. So for that I had such a fun idea. I wanted to use graph paper to print my artwork so that I can make them into postcards. Now I really don't know how graph paper will be printed because this is an inkjet printer and graph paper are basically not the inkjet papers. So I have no idea, but I really want to give it a try because that brown color that a graph paper has, I think that will add just another level rustic vibes to the whole postcards that I want. So yeah, I'm gonna just print out a sample and see how they look, and if they turn out fine, then I can continue making more postcards. And I think you guys can just assume that if I'm including this in my vlog, then it turned out to be a successful experiment. Now this is the sample that I made, so I'm pretty happy with this sample. It turned out amazing. There is absolutely no sort of bleeding or misprinting I can see, so I can just go ahead with other postcards as well. Now I'm using my cutting and scoring board to cut this whole A4 sheet into A6 cards. They look pretty cute. I think the craft paper really is bringing out the rustic vibes that I'm going for. It turned out a little bit more magenta than it should be. It's partly because of the artwork and partly because of the paper. So right now I'm just gonna go in and then adjust the colors of all the artworks, because probably all the artworks will be a bit more magenta, will be printed in a more magenta tones. So I can just go ahead and start with the editing of other postcards as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna increase the yellow tones a bit more and then lower the magenta tones so that it just gets balanced. And let me be honest right now that these postcards actually took a lot of attempts to reach to the final result. There are a lot of changes that I'll be making following the vlog, and that's the whole another story. But yeah, now I'm just gonna go in once again and then continue editing my artworks. Now for most of the artworks, I'm erasing off the edges of the artwork so that the brown color of the graph paper can be seen, and I think that adds the another level retro rustic vibes to it, I guess, if I'm saying it right. Now by this time it's already late evening, and as it's winter time, so yeah, days are quite short. I'm still going on with the editing actually takes a lot of time for scanning the artworks and then tweaking the colors if need be, separating the artworks from the background and then placing them in the right format ready for the print. So yeah, after doing all of that, after working on a lot of files, then now I'm gonna start with the printing of these artworks. So I've already made the required adjustment in these artworks, so I'm going to continue printing these and see how they're actually turning out, if there are any changes that needed to be done. Actually, even after making a bit changes in the color, these artworks were still turning out to be a bit more magenta than they should be. So yes, that means I need to redo these postcards. Plus I had only limited number of craft papers with me, so I ordered them on Amazon, and then I'm gonna wait for these postcards to arrive. After printing a few postcards the other day, now the next day I'm gonna continue with the same process, and now I'm just gonna go in and cut the postcards. I actually printed out a few copies of same design in different styles, and right now I'm just comparing the designs next to each other, how they actually look. Now, even though I know there are some changes needed to be done with the colors, but still I'm so happy with how my postcards were turning out. I think they look so amazing, and I can actually feel those vintage vibes there. I'm just so glad that I actually included a lot of cottagey elements, some folksy art, some cottage home interiors, some country beautiful landscapes, and some cottage core elements like vintage cupboard or woodland animals or beautiful wildflowers. I mean, I think these postcards will actually take you to your dream cottage. Now simultaneously I'm printing out a sample for wall art print. I'm printing my artwork on a watercolor paper. I've been actually hunting for a good art print for so long. I think for a month, I hunted for a month, but I just didn't get the right paper. I mean, there was something or the other thing. I just wasn't happy with the type of papers I was actually getting. Either they were just way too expensive, or they were unavailable, or I was just not getting inkjet papers, or if I was getting inkjet papers, then they would be glossy but not matte, and if they are matte, then they are not sturdy enough. So there was just one or the other problem, and it's just so funny because I had this watercolor paper lying around in my home. I was just so frustrated because I was not getting the right paper at all. For the experiment's sake, I just printed this artwork on a watercolor paper, and oh my god, it turned out so perfect, just like I wanted. These are textured watercolor paper, and I think they just so perfectly bring out the feel of the artwork. Feel of the art was something I was just aiming for. So yeah, I got my right paper just like that after a month, but yeah, I finally got it. Unfortunately, even after printing on these white watercolor paper, the artwork was still coming out magenta. So again, needed to make some changes to the artworks wherever they are needed. Either some footprint a bit more dark or a bit more magenta. And I actually printed out a few artworks, and then now looking at the artwork, I'm making just few changes that needed to be done, and anticipating how other artworks need to be adjusted as well, because if these are printing a little bit more magenta, then I can just assume that other artworks will print like that in the same way. And now I'm adjusting the colors, just bringing down the tones of magenta and bringing up the tones of yellow. And setting all the artworks in A5 size in A4 format. So yeah, after adjusting all that, I'm gonna start with the printing of all the artworks. And so now my paper is set in the printer, and now I'm ready to print my all the artworks. After printing, I like to check all my artworks for any mistakes that have been done, for any misprinting that has been done, or any changes that need to be further made. And after going through every artwork, I'm actually pretty happy with how they're turning out. I think the little bit changes that I've made, they actually work with these artworks. They didn't work with the postcards, but they actually work with the artworks, so I'm happy with those. In fact, let me be honest, there will be a few more changes that need to be done, but later. I haven't really included that in the vlog because I realized it quite late, and it's not very much, but I'll be resizing a few of my animals and flowers artworks into small size. So yeah, after doing that, now back to my postcards, and I'm still making some changes with the postcards with some of the artworks, because either the artworks are not very bright enough, or they are still a bit more magenta than they should be. So yeah, I just made a few changes, but I'm done for the day. I'm already done with the art prints, and I completed a lot of work, and then a little bit of postcards. I've covered a little bit of postcards work. So I'm done with that. Now I'm just making the to-do list for the next day. I like to be prepared a night before, but the next morning my mind is prepared what I need to get started with. So the next day my goal is to just finish off all the work of the prints and the postcards. right now I'm cutting the postcards and simultaneously printing the back of the art prints. Now I don't have my stamp of the logo to print the back of the art print, so I'm just printing my logo with the printer, and then on the side I'm cutting the postcards. And I actually decided to prepare two kinds of postcards. They're gonna be same in the front, but at the back I made some changes. One is gonna be just a blank, and the second one is gonna have the postcards format with the stamp and few lines, so people can go with whichever format that they want. So yeah, I'll be printing actually a lot of copies of these postcards, and also I plan to make some sets of these postcards and also release them as singles. By the time you see this vlog, all the art prints and the postcards are gonna be out. Postcards in the sets as well as in the singles as well. So yeah, I actually prepared 8 sets of postcards and they all look just so pretty cute. So right now my art prints are already done. I've already printed the front and the back of the art prints. So now I'm cutting all the art prints, and again I'm gonna go through the checking process as always. So I'm actually just removing the frays on the edges of the paper because, well, these are cotton papers, so there had to be some frays while cutting them. So I'm just cleaning them off with the scissors, and now they are just all finished, very clean and so aesthetically pleasing and good. I'm so happy with how my art prints actually turned out, and I got so much love for these already. Now it's already evening, and as I'm done with all the art prints, now I'm gonna continue working on postcards. I actually changed into something warmer because it has gotten cold. Now I'm scanning a few more artworks. Now these artworks are only meant for greeting cards, and well, I haven't included them in the vlog, but I for sure have made Instagram reels and YouTube shorts on greeting cards that I've made. They were all rustic cottage kind of vibes. I'll actually share a picture with you of the greeting cards I made, and yeah, I painted a few of the artworks just meant for the greeting cards to be released. And yeah, now I'm just continuing with the postcards printing process. I've done with the printing of a lot of postcards already with a blank back, and I now need to print the postcards with the postcards format at the back. Now again, I'm going in and placing my craft paper in the rare feeder where it's quite a thick paper. It's 280 GSM of craft paper. I'm actually pretty happy impressed with this printer because normally inkjet printers won't support a thick paper, but this printer actually does, and it actually printing so amazing and such high quality prints on these craft paper, which is actually not an inkjet paper, which is surprising. So next I'm just going in and cutting all my postcards. First I'm dividing my A4 printed papers into vertical tubes, and then I'm gonna cut them into horizontal tubes. So I'm already done with the blank back postcard. So now I'm printing postcards with the postcard format, proper postcards format. And first I'm printing the front, and then I'm printing the back by reversing the paper, and then I'm cutting the paper into A6 postcards. Honestly saying, while looking at this vlog, I feel so happy and just so overwhelmed with the amount of work that has been put in each artwork. Though they are in these small A6 postcards format, but every artwork is just very close to my heart because all these artworks are right out of my dream, my imagination. And I've got these really special messages from people that say that they can really connect with my art, and they can actually see their dream cottage life in these artworks, and it just warms my heart so much. with that, I've completed all the process of making postcards and prints. So after doing all that, I'm just sorting and segregating all the postcards into sets, because the next day I need to get started with the shoot. So if you guys love this whole process of making postcards and prints, let me know. And if you're a cottagecore soul like me who love all these rustic and vintage vibes, let me know that too. I would love to know about you guys. And I'll see you very, very soon. You guys take care. Bye bye.